Hey, yo, dog. So unless you've been living under a rock for the past month, you probably know that Spirit Halloween has been uploading some sneak peeks and prop videos for the 2020 season. Basically, I'm just here to do what I did last year, which is make one full long video explaining my opinions on each addition to the 2020 lineup. I know it is annoying to see 1,000 videos on the exact same topic pop into your subscription box every day for almost a month, so I'm here to help.
I'm not part of the problem, I'm part of the solution, okay?
Either way, I really hope you enjoy hearing my thoughts on the 2020 Spirit Halloween lineup. First up is unfortunately probably one of the worst props this year, Uncle Charlie. Now listen, please, 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 I'm going to explain why. No need to go in the comments and send me death threats, okay? For those of you who don't know me, I'm not even a fan of the original Uncle Charlie. I always thought he looked like a rejected Killer Clowns from Outer Space member. He had bad audio and overall cheesy and cartoon-like appearance. So naturally, when I heard he was going to be remade to fix some of those mistakes, I was happy. Right? While yes, in theory, it is a nice gesture for Spirit to bring back a prop that people have been harassing them for. Thanks, Dom. It just doesn't seem to have the same effect it used to. He looks bad, the new audio is somehow worse than it originally was, and I absolutely despise the latex face and the thin plastic shoes. Yes, they're better than his old cloth ones, but they should be different than just the generic clown shoes any other SVI rapist clown has. One thing I will say that I like, however, is the fact that he has a moving mouth. And yes, I know I just complained about his rubber face, and I know he needs to have it in order to have the moving mouth, but it definitely could have been done better. Overall, not a fan of him at all, and I will not be picking him up this year.
Come on, I won't hurt you much. Step right up. The first to live an hour inside wins a prize!
Next up is Flesh-Eating Zombie. And while I do really like this guy, I thought it was rather weird that he was brought back. Since no one has ever really talked or cared much about him coming back, I just thought it was just kind of a strange choice. A welcome one, though. I have the same basic thoughts on the Gatekeeper, but we'll get into that. Anyways, though, I do really love the zombie. Not one I'll be getting since I don't usually like buying online-only props. However, opposite to Uncle Charlie, I think the updates are really nice. I do like the original just a hair better, but I don't have a problem with this guy whatsoever. All in all, he's a super cool addition to the lineup, and I'm super happy to see him return. And from a high note, onto another trash prop, we have Mommy's Favorites. It's not that I hate this one at all, I just don't care about it. Compared to some of the other amazing additions to the 2020 lineup, this one just seems kinda plain, if that makes any sense. It's still cool and decently creepy, but a little overpriced for what it is and severely underdetailed. That's all I can really say about it. Not bad, but not great.
Shh. You don't want to wake up my mother. She's been sleeping for a long time. Can you keep a secret? Shh.
Next up, we have the Butcher. Honestly, at first I thought he looked kind of stupid. I still definitely think he could be heavily improved, but I actually really enjoy this guy now. I have been wanting a Butcher prop for years. Well, a good one anyway. All that aside, he is a cool idea. He reminds me a lot of Pighead from the Saw series. If I had one complaint, it would be the fact that there should be more blood around his neck. Being that it's a decapitated pig's head over a butcher's head, I feel like it should be a little bit bloodier. But you could always just add more blood, I suppose. One other thing I really wanted to mention was the fact that he has super cool audio. I know a lot of people really hate it, but I thought it was a super creepy voice, and the phrases are pretty decent too.
Piggy, piggy, piggy. This little piggy went to market. Where are you going?
And now we have the Nightcrawler. Honestly, I've loved this guy since he was released. He's a very unique look to him and super cool audio and not even a terrible price. Given it could be a tad lower considering he's only like 3.5 feet tall, but he has some killer motion and a super creepy face. I've always loved the sort of body distortion props, and this one does not disappoint. He kind of reminds me of the end ghost from the movie Poltergeist. The good one. There you go. Because they're just sort of similar in the way that they're positioned, with the elongated jaw and twisted limbs, just something I figured was noteworthy. By far one of the best of the year, and I really hope I can grab one at the sale. And now we have Peekaboo Clown. And do I like him? No, I do not. Shut up. Not to say that he's all bad, though. In fact, I thought he was pretty decent when he was initially released, but looking back at him, he's not great. I will say this much, the eyes are super cool. His price, especially considering the eyes, is reasonable as well. Beyond that, I just don't care for him. The voice is kinda meh, and the phrases are just terrible. He looks decent besides the face, though. I kinda like the color aesthetic. But beyond those things, I just don't care about him. Clowns are way overdone, honestly. Luckily, that's the last one I'm going to be dealing with this year. Oh, wait. But we'll get into that later.
Peekaboo! Peekaboo! I just love that game! Particularly with crying little babies! I'm ready to play again! Where'd everyone go? I can't see! Because I had my eyes closed! Blah! But I'll keep them open to see where you run away to! You can run, but you can't hide!
Next up is easily one of the best props of the year, Kiwi. Wait, what? Sorry, I meant Little Daisy and the Maestro. Oof, that's a mouthful. From now on, I'm just going to refer to it as the Puppet Master for efficiency purposes. Anyway, the Puppet Master is a super unique concept with decent execution. My only real complaints are I wish his face had a little more detail and his price could be a tad lower. I love the way the girl just looks so out of it when he's controlling her every move. It sort of reminds me of like a really demented Pinocchio situation, but instead of a doll, he has a real kid. And I love it.
But Morris Manor, that prop is child abuse. You can't like a prop that's child abuse.
If you think a piece of plastic with some cheap motors is child abuse, you might need to go reevaluate your life. Regardless of that, though, I absolutely love this guy, and he will be a definite purchase for this year.
She never eats, she never sleeps, she never speaks, but she knows how to haunt you. It seems I've trained her very, very well.
Next up, we'll be talking about Sewer Varmint. There's not really much to say about this other than... Seriously though, he is a pretty cool prop. Just by measuring the sizes and portions of this guy from the website, he's actually a pretty decent size too, so I can't even complain about the price too much. It's still a tad too high for what it is, but I'm not very upset by it. I like the way they sort of based his movement and idea around a mini Cerberus. I kind of want to buy it just to go with my Cerberus. Overall, I really enjoy the idea of this guy. Unlikely I'll be getting him unless he's at the end of the year sale, but I really look forward to seeing him in stores. Next up, we have Double Trouble. No, not them. These guys. I'm going to be talking about each one separately, though. And first up is Punctured Pete. Honestly, when I first saw the leaked pictures of this guy, I didn't care for him. Not to say I hated him in any way, but he just seemed kind of plain compared to some of the other stuff I had seen. But when his video was released, that quickly changed. I absolutely love his movement. The way it looks like he's trying to pull a steak out of his chest is awesome. Price-wise, it's not even terrible either. Definitely one I'm really excited to see in person and maybe even purchase. And now we have Miserable Marie. Honestly, there's not much to say about her. She's pretty decent for what she is. Basically just a glorified twitching prop, but with better detail. The main feature I really like on her is the jaw. Plus, it's always nice to see a life-size prop for under $200. Beyond that, she's nothing special. Still a cool piece, though. Alright, fantastic. Let's talk about the clowns. I'm going to be excluding this one from the review for efficiency purposes, and also because he's online only. But I will show you this.
Little Uncle Boo Boo climbing through your window, scooping up the children and biting off their heads.
Need I say more? Anyway, first I'll be talking about Fright in the Box, which is definitely my top 5 favorite for this year, and maybe even a future purchase. Everything about him is spot on, except for the price. He's too high for what he is. Yes, I know he's rather large, but he's still not worth over $200. But besides that, I love his concept and the look and the audio. One feature I wanted to mention on this guy was how cool it is that they added the little handle on the side to go around. I won't be paying $210 for this, but that does make up for the price a little bit. And now we have this abomination. Johnny Punk. Piece of shit.
I've been waiting for you to come out and play. What took you so long? Who you calling a clown? You don't know who you're messing with.
Alright, and next up is Miss Mercy. At first when I saw pictures of her, I figured she was nothing too special, but upon seeing videos of her in her full glory, I quickly changed my mind. She is a standard $200 for a life size, which isn't terrible, but it could be a bit lower considering she doesn't really do much. But she is covered in detail, so I'll give it a pass. I love her weird distortion animation. Like I mentioned earlier, I really like the body distortion props, and this is no exception. However, the main feature I really wanted to talk about was her audio. The bone cracking is just absolutely spine-chilling, and YJ did an absolutely amazing job with it. Now let's talk about the Gatekeeper. There's not really much to say other than I'm surprised he of all things is brought back, but I am happy. He was updated a little, but still kept his original charm. I'm pretty happy he's back, but I won't be getting him.
Oh yes, more souls to feed the dead. Please pass through and let us take your life. Listen to the soft singing of those that have fallen before you. They are calling your name. It is time for you to join them for an eternity!
Alright, going on throughout this long video, next up we have Ellie Hatchet, a severely overrated prop to say the least. She's okay, but really nothing special, especially compared to the other thing Techie released this year. but we'll get into that. Basically, she looks like she kind of swings an axe down and has a few menacing phrases. Her face is kind of dumb looking, and honestly, she's overpriced for what she is. If you put a few limbs or maybe even a whole torso in front of her, I think that would definitely help with the whole creep factor. But overall, she's really nothing special. She's decent, but nothing I care much about.
What are you looking at?
Now let's talk about the Hauntress. Easily one of the best props this year, and I'm super happy to see such an original idea, especially considering the price is pretty amazing for what it is. Honestly, how is this less expensive than this? Spirit's pricing system baffles me sometimes. That being said, the Hauntress has some awesome and outstanding movement and some pretty decent detail. Ghostly props are always cool to have because they're easy to use and fit in themes. I believe she's online only as well, but this could be one I definitely consider buying. And now we'll finally be talking about the prop that I keep getting spam with messages about. Yep, the Plague Doctor. Let me just say, I've been suggesting a Plague Doctor animatronic for years now, and finally Spirit listens. And then they make it a static and an online-only prop. And as disappointed as I was to find those things out, I'm still in love with him. Probably the fourth best this year in my opinion. Being that it is online only, it's likely to have a price drop later next year maybe. So as much as I'd love to grab it as soon as I can, I'll probably wait for it to get a bit cheaper. Really, my main complaint is that $230 is a little too much to pay for a static, but he looks really good quality-wise and is probably the second most detailed prop this year. I absolutely adore him, and he will be in my collection one day. And now let's talk about Twisted Tina. There's not really much to say about this one other than that she's got some decent detail and I'm always happy to see hanging props. I was a bit disappointed when I found out she was a static, but she's still pretty cool. $100 is a little much to pay for what she is. I would have gone with more like 70 or 80. Not that it's outrageous, but it seems like they're pushing it a little. All in all, I do really like her. Not a purchase I'll be making, but still excited about seeing her in stores. Okay guys, we're nearing the end here, I promise. Next up is Angeline. My basic first thoughts on her was that she was kind of a remake of Techie's Lonely Laura. And I was correct. Essentially, she's just a worse version of that, only 10 times more expensive. Not to say that I hate her, because I definitely don't. She's actually pretty cool. I just hate the latex voice and the sounds make her sound like an adult. Besides that, and the price tag of course, she's a pretty decent prop.
I love the cemetery, especially at midnight, when it's colder, when the other children are long asleep, and the dead awaken.
Okay guys, last two, and I saved the best ones for last. First up is Krampus, and oh boy, I cannot wait to talk about him. By far the best prop of the year, and probably one of the best of all time. He's littered with detail, and he's absolutely massive. Unfortunately, so is his price tag. But honestly, for something like this, $350 isn't even asking too much. It may not be until after Halloween, but I will absolutely be purchasing this guy. Only problem I have is I wish he had a little more animation. I know you're basically just paying for the detail and size, but what you're paying, I feel like he could do a little bit more. Besides that, he's absolutely perfect, and I can't wait to add him to my collection. And finally, we have the Harvester of Souls, who is probably my second favorite prop of the year. He's easily one of the most intense props Spirit has ever put out. I know someone is going to call them out and complain over it, so I gotta give it to Spirit for releasing this. My main issue is that he really should have come with the fog machine, considering he's $300 and it is his main feature. Besides that, he's absolutely amazing though. I love his look, his audio, and just the whole Dementor kind of idea to him. Absolutely one of the best props of the year, and maybe even of all time, and I will definitely be purchasing him at some point too.
Look at me, just as all the others have. Now that I have you, your soul will be mine forever!
Well guys, I finally made it through. Sorry that took so long, but Spirit just has such a big lineup this year. I really hope you all enjoyed watching though. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on these props in the comments below. If you have any complaints because I don't like your favorite Spirit prop, make sure to leave a comment letting me know and I'll be sure to ignore you. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!
Then at a deadly pace, it came from outer space, and this is how the message ran. Science fiction, double feature, Dr.
I'll bet you my yummy clown knows that this is not. You've never seen me servant with this before, Olf.
Hey! Yeah!